Welcome, seekers of wisdom, to glorious past. Today, we journey into the heart of an ancient Tamil classic, Manimekalai, as we reach its final chapter, the end of the story. This is the tale of a young woman's quest for truth, a journey that takes her beyond the bounds of tradition, beyond the voices of many faiths, until she finds the one path that speaks to her soul. In the sacred presence of the holy Aravana, she listens, learns, and dedicates herself to a life of wisdom and service. Let us step into her world, where the echoes of the past still whisper their eternal truths. Manimekalai stood before the revered monk, her heart heavy with all she had seen and heard. The world around her was vast, filled with countless beliefs, each claiming to hold the key to enlightenment. She had wandered far, seeking answers from scholars, ascetics, and mystics, yet none had spoken to the deepest longing of her soul. Now, in the serene presence of the holy Aravana, she felt the weight of her journey lift, as though she had at last reached the end of a long and weary road. The monk regarded her with eyes that had seen the sorrow of the world and the wisdom beyond it. With gentle words, he spoke of the great city of Kaveripatnam, once teeming with life, now lost beneath the waves. He told of his journey from the drowned city to Vanji, then to Kamchi, always in search of her. At his side had traveled Madhavi, the famed dancer, and Sathamathi, her loyal companion. Together, they had left behind the ruins of their past, seeking the light of new understanding. Manimekalai listened in silence, her thoughts drifting to the island of Manimekalai, where she had first heard of Kaveripatnam's fate from the wise sage Dwipathalaka. She had traveled to Vanji in search of knowledge, disguising herself as a common seeker to listen to the debates of different religious sections. Yet each voice spoke only in fragments, offering glimpses of truth clouded by their own desires and doubts. None had given her the clarity she sought. And so, with the last of her hopes resting upon the wisdom of the noble Aravana, she had come to him, surrendering herself to the path he would reveal. With patience and kindness, Aravana spoke of the great law of life, the eternal truth proclaimed by the Buddha, the Lord of Compassion. He told of a prince who had walked away from a kingdom, forsaking wealth and power to seek the true nature of existence. In deep meditation, he had discovered the path beyond suffering, a way to break free from the endless cycle of birth and rebirth. It was a path not of rigid rituals nor harsh penance, but of wisdom, love, and boundless compassion for all beings. Manimekalai's heart stirred as she listened. Here was a truth unshackled by pride, unclouded by ambition. It was not a faith that sought power, nor one that demanded blind obedience. It was a way of life built upon kindness, understanding, and service to others. She saw, at last, the path that had awaited her all along. In that moment, the restless wandering of her soul came to an end. With reverence, she bowed before the holy Aravana, her mind filled with gratitude. No longer did she seek answers in the temples of the many sects, nor in the words of those who argued over whose truth was greatest. She had found her refuge in the teachings of the Enlightened One, in the simple yet profound call to love and serve all living beings. From that day forward, Manimekalai dedicated herself to a life of devotion, spending her days in prayer, meditation, and selfless service. No longer bound by the illusions of the world, she walked the path of wisdom with a heart free of fear, her only desire to aid those who still wandered in the darkness of ignorance. With every act of kindness, with every prayer for the suffering, she sought to break the chains of birth, longing for the final liberation that lay beyond all sorrow. So ends the tale of Manimekalai, the seeker who found her truth not in power or wealth, but in the simple, profound act of being kind. Her story echoes across time, reminding us that no matter how many paths exist, the truest journey is the one that leads us toward compassion. If this story has moved you, consider sharing it with those who seek wisdom. Subscribe to Glorious Past for more tales from ancient literature, where the voices of history still whisper their timeless truths. Until we meet again, let us walk the path of kindness.